Welcome to the RPG Book Club, the podcast where we play a little bit of a video game and talk about how it makes us feel. I am Sam Allman.
I'm Elias Sailor Eli Warren.
And I'm Maddy Webben.
And this episode is going to replace the old episode 0, and we'll talk about how the podcast has grown, give new listeners a glimpse into what's coming down the line from here in the future where we know better. But before we get started on the episode proper, we should introduce ourselves. As I said earlier, I am Sam Allman. I formerly worked for Blizzard when we started this thing. I no longer work for Blizzard. I now work for Google, and I can say even less about what I do for a job, which is cool.
That's called character development, baby.
Yeah, character development. When we started this over a year ago now, I was starting Persona 5, and I am not done with Persona 5.
That's called lack of character growth, baby.
Right? Yeah, and much like when we started the podcast, we were playing Persona 3, and I'm like, this is good. I'm going to go buy Persona 5 before we're even done. And now I'm not done with Persona 5, and I bought Persona 4 because that's what I do.
Well, bought.
Yeah. But, acquired Persona 4. So, yeah, that's basically what I've been up to over the year. I have a baby. You will hear her in most episodes for Scarlet Cast.
For the record, you did have a baby before, so that is not character growth. That is old news. Sorry, Sam. Nobody cares about your. I'm just kidding.
We still have to introduce ourselves. It's character growth from the beginning of this episode.
I can't even say that as an irony. Scarlett's the best.
She's great.
She's becoming less baby every day. It's character growth for Scarlet.
Yeah.
And then that's the circle of life. You become first you're baby, then you become less baby, but then you become like a 20-something, and you become baby again.
Yeah. And you're like, I'll pay $30 to just cuddle with somebody. But yeah, I love Digimon, and I love Spider-Man, and I love Homestuck, and all of these things get brought up every single episode. So get ready for that. What about you, Eli? Tell us something about yourself, and don't forget to plug all of your things like we have done for the past 6 months.
Yeah, so I'm Elias. I go by Sailor Eli on YouTube and in our Discord and essentially everywhere else. It's replacing my old screen name, which was just my World of Warcraft character name. I do work for Blizzard currently. I have been there for over 10 years now. I got my shield this January, which was pretty sweet. And my Audacity keeps changing its volume on me.
It'll be fine.
It's really annoying.
I can level it out in post.
Okay, cool. I lost my train of thought.
You got your shield back in January.
Yes, I got my shield back in January. I've been doing a YouTube Let's Play channel for the past few years. I started with Undertale because it's my favorite game ever.
Mm-hmm.
And I will make all sorts of Undertale references that other people won't get. I still haven't read Homestuck, which makes Sam and Maddy sad.
Yeah, especially because you love Undertale so much,
fan.
and Toby Fox literally tweeted like a month ago for the 10-year anniversary of Homestuck. He was like, "Homestuck is the reason I made Undertale. It's the biggest inspiration in my life."
God damn it!
And Eli's just like, "What?"
I still haven't read the epilogues, but I will.
You need to. I need you to hurt with me.
I need to sit down. Well, he says that you're supposed to lock yourself in a room and binge it all in one go, and I'm waiting till I have time and energy to do that.
Yeah, I didn't, and it was fine. So just read it as your entertainment in one go, and not as your thing. Here we are derailing Eli with Homestuck.
Eli.
This has happened for 60 episodes so far.
Anyway, other things that I enjoy are I play World of Warcraft. I love Twin Peaks and Futurama and Steven Universe and Sailor Moon. If you can tell by my name being Sailor Eli, it's not just because I curse a lot, although that is a factor.
Not a sailor?
I surprisingly no. I have no no Sailor Jerry tattoos.
That's his job at Blizzard. Is he's the aquatic support.
Yes, I specifically support people in Vajir and any other underwater zones, and that's it.
Yeah.
And also, I work while swimming in a pool.
Yeah.
That would be great.
Right?
I would enjoy that.
Yeah, they've invented standing desks. Now invent swimming desks.
Swimming desks, yes. And then we can get mermaid coworkers.
Yeah. Be inclusive.
Mermaid.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, that's I have a partner and 4 cats. You will never hear any of them on the podcast because the partner works while I am podcasting, and the cats are not allowed in my office because they will chew on things.
Nice.
But they're wonderful kitties.
What about you, Maddy?
Man, Eli, I just can't. I'm just so shocked that you're not a sailor. I thought that whenever you found yourself, I thought that whenever you found yourself growing grim about the mouth, whenever it was a damp, drizzly November in your soul, whenever you found yourself involuntarily pausing before coffin warehouses and bringing up the rear of every funeral you met, and especially whenever your hypos get the upper hand in me, that it requires a strong moral principle to keep you from deliberately stepping out into the street and methodically knocking people's heads off, I thought that when those things happened, you accounted it high time to get to the sea as soon as you can. But apparently not.
I am not a man of the sea.
Hi, folks. I'm Maddy. I really like the book Moby Dick.
And The Great Gatsby.
Gatsby, and I will bring it up constantly.
Using the same bit like that just happened. There's about 3 of them over the year.
That was a new bit. I haven't quoted that particular line from Moby Dick before.
No, but that meme format has shown up at least 3 times.
I just randomly start reading something that you realize after I've gone on a bit too long. I'm obviously reading Moby Dick right now.
Yeah.
Either Moby Dick or Great Gatsby.
I'm just trying to educate y'all.
Well, considering the context of that when I assumed Moby Dick.
Yeah.
But I haven't read The Great Gatsby, so I don't know. Maybe.
Also, the fact that one sentence went on way longer than I thought it did.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is a long-ass sentence. Holy shit.
Anyway, folks... I started this podcast slightly after everybody else because I was going through a lot of life changes. Mm-hmm. And I used a different name and was also using a different gender at the time, so that was fun. Then I joined the podcast and did a little bit of like two seasons of games, and then my life changed in a bunch of other extremely catastrophic ways, and then I started being a tran and being Maddy, pronouns she,
You didn't
her.
come out as trans until after meeting me. Did I give you the tran?
Yeah,
yes,
it was
contagious.
Yeah.
No. You I mean, obviously, that's not how it works. But if I were to ironically joke about someone giving me the tran, it would be some specific person, but it wouldn't.
I know exactly who.
Yeah, even ironically, no. Maybe one day I'll say who gave me the tran. But anyway, yeah, I actually came out as a big dramatic twist because I'm kind of extra sometimes during our Xenogears finale episode.
Yeah.
I was like, surprise, plot twist.
She comes out in the middle of the episode, so she's just like, "Hi, I'm Dead Name," and then "Hi, I'm Maddy" at the end.
Yep,
and it was beautiful.
Funny enough, I feel weird about the word "dead name." It's so dramatic. I'm just
right?
Like,
it is really dramatic.
I usually just use the phrase "old name." Dead name just seems so. It's like, y'all. It's. I know some people get really upset about the whole dead name thing, and I know that some people are very sensitive about it. But for me, like, I don't really care if the fact that I didn't share my dead name just now is only more out of respect for other trans people who don't like that. I don't actually care. If you find out what mine is, that's fine.
If this is your first time listening to the podcast, you'll
exactly. We're not going to go back and edit them. And please do listen to the old episodes, by the way.
You should, though. It would be really funny if it just cut out and it was just like Maddy, just like very robotic.
Yeah, exactly. So again, like I don't care. It's whatever. Anyway, what's my shit? My shit is that I am a huge JRPG nut. It's probably my favorite genre. Like maybe not intellectually, but like deep down in my heart. You know, my favorite 2 game series are unequivocally Dragon Quest and Metal Gear Solid. And I like them for completely opposite reasons, which is cool. They don't even, like, overlap in my heart, you know?
Yeah, I was gonna say, they're not... Metal Gear is not an RPG by any means.
Well, that's the thing. I say I love RPGs, but, like, I also really love action games. Like, sure, like... but I'm... Yeah, I don't actually know what my favorite genre is. I have... Let's put it this way. I think about RPGs the most. Anyway, I love Dragon Quest, which is exciting because we're literally about to start a Dragon Quest game, finally. Yeah. So a bunch of our idiot fans who have never played a Dragon Quest game and have wrong opinions.
Wow.
No, we love all of our
fans.
Edit
that out, Sam.
all of our fans are fucking great. Like, that's not even just be pandering. Our fans are fucking great.
They're spectacular.
Extremely big fan of all of them. Even they have wrong opinions about Dragon Quest. Yeah. What else?
Are you subtweeting Desert Stream right now?
No, not just Desert Stream. Like half of the fucking Discord. Anyway, what else is there? So I don't live in the same place as the two of y'all. Did y'all say where y'all live?
No.
Well, I'm in Texas.
Yeah, we're both in Austin.
Sam
currently.
is also in Texas.
They both live in Austin, Texas, and I used to live in Austin, Texas until right around the podcast started when I hightailed it way over here to the West Coast in the Bay Area. I'm currently in West Oakland, and will soon probably be somewhere else in Oakland because that's
You're
annoying.
In the Bay Area, BAE.
Yes. Yeah. Oh yeah. Totally. Every Bay's as far as you can see. Bay's left and right. Yeah, and I also have lots of technical issues sometimes, especially in the older episodes. Hopefully those are sorted out at this point. I also am famous for my just piping hot takes and strange opinions.
Yeah, we're currently in a fight because of her Zelda opinions in the Discord right now.
Yeah, I did. Anyway, so yeah, that's
I missed that one.
That's me. Yeah. Dragon Quest, Metal Gear, extremely communist, Stalin. I'm just kidding. You can cut that part out. And piping hot opinions.
Yeah. And also, just so you know, every time anyone says edit that out, I never edit it out.
I know. The only other podcast I listen to is like Chapo Trap House, and that's one of their bits. Is like they never edit it out. Actually, they probably fucking do edit shit out. I just don't know what it is.
Did I steal? I actually probably took that joke from Game Grumps.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a pretty common bit.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah. So, if you continue from this here, episode 0, and go to episode 1, you will hear a fourth host. Well, technically at the time it's a third host, but over time it became a fourth host. But our good friend Michael Rodriguez, he had to start canceling a lot due to schedule conflicts, and he stepped out officially during Legend of Dragoon, but he started having to miss episodes as far back as Rogue Galaxy. So he's there for all of Persona, and then he starts dropping like flies. And so he's still a really good friend of ours, and he still will pop up in the Discord every now and then, but as for now, it's just the three of us going forward, which is pretty cool.
He had to return to his home planet.
Yeah, they needed him.
One more thing about me. I'm just I'm equal level as Eli of Twin Peaks fan.
Yeah,
both astronomical Twin Peaks fans, and Sam hasn't watched it yet.
Yeah, not yet. I plan on it, but I can't watch shows right now. It doesn't work for me. So
when you get a chance, if you want to borrow my DVDs, you are more than welcome to.
Dope. I might. I think it's on Prime still, so I'll just do that.
The return is,
it's on Netflix.
But you have to have Showtime.
Oh, the first one's on.
First one's on Netflix.
Okay, so I'll watch. Yeah. Okay, I'll make it happen. But
okay.
Yeah. So now about the podcast itself. What we do around these parts, if you've lasted this long and you care, is we play about 4 hours. It was 8 hours in Persona because we were all young, dumb, and stupid.
Yeah, we really thought we could do that.
And then
here, also, I was literally unemployed for most of it.
And then here in Final Fantasy, we were it's going to be a big week. It's 2.5 hours, but we shoot for 4 hours. That's kind of the comfort zone of what we can do each week. And and when we do that, we talk about the plot and memorable moments along the way. In Legend of Dragoon, we switched up the format where we used to do it all in a chunk, but it's really easy to go on tangents and talk for 2.5 hours if we're just rambling about everything. So now we do it where we just talk about the main plot points and then the specific memorable moments that we have along the way, and it keeps things tidy. So if you start feeling like the Xenogears episodes go on too long, we agree, and we fixed it. But yeah, it's really cool because we get to go into the nitty gritty and talk about specific parts in a way that you don't usually get to with RPGs. Like, if we're discussing Final Fantasy VI, everyone is like, oh, remember the opera? Remember Ultros? Remember the tower? Not a lot of people are like, oh, hey, remember what this NPC said? And there was this really funny joke in this one town at the beginning of the game that no one remembers. And that's what we do on the podcast, is we get to talk about all of the little bits along the way and dissect it like fully by doing such a small bit at a time.
All the bits, like all 16 of them, or 32, depending on the game we're playing.
Yeah.
The bits.
And so we got the inspiration from obviously book clubs because it's in our name, but TV, specifically like Game of Thrones culture right now, which as we're recording this is wrapping up forever. But like every week, everyone has hot takes and opinions on what's going to happen next week on the show. And like RPGs don't get to do that, but they're so long that they deserve that, but they also are rife with spoilers and everyone goes at their own pace. So you have to ask, did you beat blah, 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 or did you get to the part where blah, blah, blah? And you can't just know where everybody is and know what's fair game and what's not fair game and just talk about it. And so that's what we wanted to do here, which is pretty cool. So,
I still have flashbacks to my friend asking me, how's Lavitz?
How's Annie?
Yeah.
How's Annie? Yeah. How's Lavitz? How's Lavitz?
Yeah. So yeah, we can do great things like in Legend of Dragoon. If you've never played it, go listen to those episodes and then come back. But in Legend of Dragoon, there's a huge plot twist, like 6 hours into the story, which is more than the 4 hours we played for the first week. And so everyone was like, everything is great. And then episode 2, they're like, Sam, why did you do this to us? Why did you make us feel these things? And it's great.
My heart.
Those things we get to discover in the moment and just like marinate on them, which I really, really love. We also focus mostly on the story. We'll do diversions into game design stuff, especially in the older episodes. But like we start out saying we're like, we are not game designers, so we're not going to do that. And then me and Maddy both are like, you know what? We are game designers. And we talk about stuff we're not qualified to talk about a lot. And so things pop up a little bit. But for the most part, it's just things like, oh, I had double cast at this point, so I was doing 18,000 damage. Or these are a little bit of what my equipment was. Or that dungeon was super pretty. I loved this part. But not a lot of like, what was the player feeling when they went into this blah, blah, blah. Like, sort of game design stuff. Another,
and I'm the social justice Barb.
Right?
Barb. No.
So another thing we do is we like to shine a light on games that don't get a lot of love in the JRPG sphere. This means sometimes you might be listening to us talk to some deep cuts like the Sailor Moon RPG or Rogue Galaxy, but we do try and balance it out with some forgotten gems and our yearly sellout game, which we just completed, which is Final Fantasy X. Probably top 2, maybe top 3. It's probably Chrono Trigger, Final Fantasy VII, and then Final Fantasy X for like most famous games of all time. And we do that to boost our Spotify numbers.
And
but
it
also,
worked.
It worked.
Yeah,
it worked a lot. But yeah, and so me and Eli like don't have any of the hits played besides Final Fantasy VI between the two of us. Like I've played Chrono Trigger and Final Fantasy VII, but none of the other hits. And so the sellout game lets us talk about all of those hits a little bit, even though we want to focus on the smaller stuff usually.
Yeah, I actually want to briefly mention, because I don't see this in your notes otherwise. Yeah, so a lot of the games that we play, so far almost every game that we've played, one of us has played. I think Rogue Galaxy is literally the only exception, right?
Yeah, I think so far.
Which
yeah.
isn't on purpose. That's just kind of how it's happened.
Yeah.
if you want to...
That was Sam's white whale game.
Yeah, my great white buffalo.
yeah, and I actually want to mention that because I don't see anything in the script that you have written right now, Sam, about this. One of our first bits we did was each of us did a game that was sort of about us, important to us. We called it and this is Sam's doing, our auto-bi-RPGs.
Yeah.
Which is a pun that made me extremely upset because it's very good.
It's so good.
Anyway, so just real quick, our auto-bi-RPGs, mine, I'll tell you what both of them were. We haven't said that we do votes. Anyway, we do voting.
Yeah.
So anyway, mine were Xenogears and Dragon Quest V, but we ended up playing Xenogears. Sam's was Rogue Galaxy and...
Nope. It was Legend of Dragoon and Shining Force.
Oh, sorry. Legend of Dragoon and Shining Force. And Legend of Dragoon was the one that won there, because that's like Sam's actual favorite video game of all time?
Yeah.
Yes?
Yeah.
Yes? Okay.
Yeah.
And then...
it still held up. Like, I was afraid, because I hadn't played it in like 4 or 5 years, it was going to be bad, but no, it held up. It's good.
Xenogears wasn't my favorite RPG of all time, but it was formative, right? And then Eli's was Sailor Moon RPG and...
Magic Knight
Magic Knight Rare.
Magic Knight Rare. So if you are wanting to, if you feel like maybe you want to get to know more about one of the three of us personally, like you think that Eli seems like he's the best one on the podcast, and you want to know more about Eli, that might be an interesting place just to start. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah, and basically I have it set up if you're on iTunes as seasons, and you can do any season in any order. There are times where we'll flash back and be like, oh, this reminds me of Dorgangoa from Rogue Galaxy, but for the most part, like, they're standalone, so you can pick game by game. If you're not feeling Rogue Galaxy, you can just skip it and move on to Sailor Moon. It's no big deal.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, So when we started doing this, we were planning on doing all of the RPGs that were available on PS3 download, which is like, it's like 300 RPGs you can just get on the PS3, and we're like, that'll be great. But we've only done 3 games that are available on the PS3 so far. The other 3 that we've done are not. So we try to do games that are still available, but that means that some of our deep cut RPGs, like Radiata Stories or Skies of Arcadia, might not come to pass on the podcast because the only way to play them is to pay like $300 each or emulate, which is a lot, and we want more people to be able to access it. And speaking of emulation, we are proponents of give the people who worked on the thing your money. So if, say, Sailor Moon RPG is only available as a fan-lated Super NES game, go out and buy some Sailor Moon manga or anime and offset your sins, because games are hard, and people should be paid for the hard work that they do.
Yeah. Yes. The only reason I am even at all in favor of emulation as a concept is because the game industry is so astronomically bad at preserving their own shit.
Yes.
So people who do emulation are actually very important for the work of game game history and game archival. So I'd like to support them, but yeah, if it's possible to give someone money for something, you should.
Yeah. For sure. So how we pick our games, as mentioned earlier, is us hosts will decide on a theme, and we'll choose 2 games to exemplify the theme. Our first theme was PlayStation 4 remakes of PS2 games, and did Rogue Galaxy versus Okage Shadow King. And then the rest of year 1 was our auto-bi-RPGs. And we try really hard to not pick an instant favorite because we want you guys to decide. And so like we make sure it's as balanced as possible, which then sometimes bites us in the ass because we're like, oh, hey, we want to play Dragon Quest V. So let's pick a game that's balanced and we'll put it up against Xenogears. And everyone's like, man, fuck yeah, Xenogears. And so it doesn't necessarily work for us. But we then put a poll up on our Ko-Fi. You'll hear us say Patreon for the first year, but we switched it over to Ko-Fi like last month. And so we'll put a poll up on our Ko-Fi, and our backers will vote on it. And then their votes get to decide it. And then us hosts, if there's a tie, we make the tiebreaker, which stinks. We don't want to make the tiebreaker. So always...
that's essentially like us just choosing what we're going to do.
So we don't want to do that.
Always be voting.
Always be voting. So if you do decide to be our backers, in addition to just voting on our games. You also get to see our sorta monthly YouTube series, the JRPG Canon, 2 weeks before everyone else. This series is basically just me playing the vertical slice of an important JRPG and talking about what's cool and awesome in it. I've done the first episode on Dragon Quest, and it's really good.
It's good, fam.
The backers also help the podcast achieve our subcasts, which are shortcast and longcast. Working title, but probably not because we're lazy, so it'll probably be the final title. These are whole bonus series, not just bonus episodes, and they're about games that are story-based, but not RPGs for shortcast, or they're about RPGs that'll take a very, very long time to complete, like Dot Hack, Dragon Quest VII, Final Fantasy XIII trilogy, Persona 5, maybe, like all of these things that take forever to get through. The long cast will be a chunk of those for each series, and so those get greenlit when our Ko-Fi donations reach certain thresholds. That word was hard to say. The series are greenlit when our Ko-Fi donations reach certain thresholds. It's currently set at $200, which is all that we made in year one was $200. If the podcast then takes off and we start making $200 a month or something, we'll probably up the threshold. So it'll be about 1 or 2 of these per year. We don't want to make a long cast every single month because that would be really rough. But
yeah, it would.
Yeah, so the first game on our docket for Shortcast is Halo Combat Evolved, so we're hoping to play that one for you this year. We're like 25% of the way to getting it. If more of our patrons move from Patreon over to Ko-Fi, we'll probably unlock it in like 3 or 4 months, which is super cool.
Oh my god, I feel like we'll be throwing Eli into the lion's den, because me and Sam are just the most enormous Halo dorks.
Yeah.
I have never cared at all about Halo.
It's so good.
I can't guarantee I'm
going to love it as much as we love it. But
yeah, let's put it that way.
Yeah.
I will be as gentle on it as I possibly can.
Yeah. And we
this is the guy who hates first-person shooters or third-person shooters in general. Any game that's shoot-a-man. Like, I have a few very select games in there that I enjoy. Mm-hmm. And that's it. And it's pretty much just the BioShock series.
Yeah. So yeah, this one, at least Halo does at least have a super easy mode. Like its easy mode is actually easy and not like
easy.
Good.
And not like just to harp on Spider-Man PS4 right now. Its easy mode is still really hard. You still get one shot by the big brutes, and I'm like, this is his easy mode. You should give me like a stagger or something to get me out of this. But I still died so much.
Yeah, the Smash Brothers World of Light, the easy mode in that is impossible.
Yeah, let's not do that.
I mean, I suck at Smash Brothers, so
same.
Yeah, as long as it's way easier than that, then fine. I just can't guarantee I'm going to enjoy it all that much anyway.
So they do in Halo. Not to go on a tangent. Also, get ready for tangents if you're here for the first time.
We're all about tangents.
I hope you remember how to find a derivative because there's going to be lots of tangents.
Yeah, so
a little math joke for you there.
But so in Halo 1, not only do the mobs die easier and you die harder, there's a specific thing where you have to go in guns blazing and take out like a whole room full of grunts, which aren't hard. They're just a lot of them. On easy mode, they're asleep when you walk in, so you just kill them in their sleep. And you get your way through, and it's okay. And they do that a couple times on the easy one, because it's like thematically, it doesn't matter like how you took out this dangerous room of people. Just do it. And so there's a lot of things like that in easy mode, which is really cool. It's still probably going to be hard. If I remember the first time I played it, it was still really hard, but it was like 1 or 2 tries per set piece, and not like Legendary, where it's like the speed run of Legendary. They still take like 4 or 5 attempts for most set pieces because it's just hard. But yeah. What do we do for fun on this podcast? In addition to our normal episodes, we also have bonus episodes that are about extremely short games in the 1 to 6 hour range. And we also have holiday episodes, if possible. We had both Halloween and Christmas this year. That was the only Christmas RPG we could find, so we'll have to get creative if we do another Christmas episode, or we'll talk about the plot of like Polar Bowling or something. But and then the Halloween, there's a lot more Halloween RPGs, so we should be okay. But still, like 3 or 4 years, we'll probably tap out. But we try and do something, and then we also watch a movie with the Discord once per game, and we used to try and like set up a live stream, but across a whole bunch of different time zones and 3 different shifts at work, it doesn't really work.
Yeah, so, no one's ever. I wasn't able to make a single movie night, which is a shame.
Yeah, and I think me and Eli were there for the Sailor Moon one, and that was it. And otherwise, it's been me and Matt from the Discord just on a date, watching a movie together. Hi, Matt. Also get used to Matt shoutouts. He was our first person in the Discord, and he's stayed there.
He is our dear son, and we love him.
Yes. So now what we've started doing is we just watch it independently, and we record episodes about it. If you're current by the time that you hear this, you will know that it will also be in your feed the moment that you hear this one, because we're going to record it probably in about 30 seconds because I'm about to the end of my notes. So when we do the movie nights, we always try and tie it into the game some way. So for Rogue Galaxy, we did Treasure Planet, and for Sailor Moon, we watched the Sailor Moon live action TV show. For Xenogears, we attempted to watch Evangelion, but the piracy police are all over that show.
Yeah, probably. Spoiler alert, Gynax does not want you to watch.
Yeah, except they finally sold it to Netflix, so maybe we'll do a retroactive movie night off of the first couple episodes of Evangelion. Yeah, and then Legend of Dragoon isn't really like anything. I was going to do one of the Power Rangers movies, but instead I did Warriors of Virtue, and nobody showed up to watch that one, so good. It was bad. I rewatched it. I was like, why was this my favorite movie growing up? This is really bad. But it was almost a slideshow. Like, there was like things like there was no reason the plot moved from point A to point B. It was just like, this is the scene where this happens, and then this is the scene where this happens. And it was real bad. It's good. You should go watch it.
Anyway, that one should have been paired up with Xenogears.
Right? Where it's a slideshow. But yeah, then for Final Fantasy, we're doing Final Fantasy The Spirits Within, of course. And we'll be talking about that one shortly. We also stream the finale of each game live, formerly just on Discord, but now we have a full Twitch channel, and we get Q&A from Discord, Twitter, and email to read aloud, and it's awesome. So before we head out, what are you guys' favorite episodes from year one? And no spoilers, so don't be like, oh, the episode where the plot of the game happened. Don't do that. But like, just...
Well, I think you know my favorite episode. It's certainly the one I'm most proud of, but was it July in Persona?
Operation Babe Hunt episode? Yeah. We did an early poll, like we were like 2 or 3 games in, and we asked everyone on the Discord, like, what episode would you show somebody to get them into the podcast? And like all but one said the July episode of Persona 3, because like in game, nothing really happens in July. You meet Aegis and you go home, and that's it.
Which meant we had more time for getting upset about something.
We got really upset about...
This is why I'm the social justice bard.
Yeah, there was some social justice that we got to sit on for like an hour and just talk about like the problems with the industry, the problem with JRPGs, the problem with everything. It was a great episode. That one's way up there on mine as well.
Yeah.
What about you, Madeline, which is not your name?
It's not. This doesn't matter, but just FYI, Maddy, it's not short for anything.
Yeah. Which means I'm going to make it short for every possible name it could be short for.
I don't care if you do it as a joke. I just want to make clear that for those of you who want to not make a joke.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's actually short for Mads Mikkelsen. You'll have to come back to me. You go.
Okay. So my favorite episode might be episode 2 of Legend of Dragoon, because it's really good. It's a really good one. It might be, let's see, it might be the Undertale episode. Like, it was spectacular because, like, Eli knew all the things, and I had only played because we only did the game over the neutral ending. We didn't do a true pacifist, and so there are all these things where I'm like, oh, and I love this part, and then Eli is like, if you love it so much, go back after you beat this boss, and then you'll see blah blah blah, and you'll be able to do blah blah blah, and I'm just blowing your mind right now, and it was it was so good. Then I also think that there was one that stood out in Final Fantasy X that I thought was spectacular, but I can't remember what it was. But, the other one would be Hive Swap, because Eli wasn't there to stop us from talking about Homestuck, so we did an entire game about Homestuck.
Oh my God. If you want to try and be convinced to read Homestuck, if you don't want to read Homestuck, don't listen to that episode, because we will be trying to convince you to read Homestuck, which you should, because it's really good.
It's really good.
It's one of the greatest works of literature of the 21st century.
Yeah. But, yeah, what about you, Maddy?
Okay, so, I've got two.
Okay.
One of which is our Space Funeral episode, which is
Space Funeral is great.
Because Space Funeral is simply one of my favorite video games of all time.
It also was your debut. That was your first episode.
That's not true.
It is true.
It is.
Because you weren't even there for Persona yet. And
no, I was there for like half of Persona.
Yeah, but but Space Funeral was before that, because Mike had to call out, and you were like, hey, I have an idea, and also I can join in for this one because it's short to play it.
Early. Wow, yeah. So Space Funeral, is a wonderful, wonderful game, and we did a one-off episode on it, and that was really fun, so that's more of a selfish reason. My other favorite episode is our first episode of Final Fantasy X.
The one they didn't get to hear, or the one that was twice as long?
The real one.
Okay.
We catastrophically, because of my technical issues, failed to record our first episode of Final Fantasy X twice.
Yeah.
So when it got time to record it for the third time, we were like, we're not doing this anymore. We are sick of this. This is horse shit. So what we did was we went ahead and played to the second stopping point and then did a, not actually double length, more like a 1.5 length double album episode where we blasted through the first two episodes' content very, very quickly, mostly because we were just like, if we have to actually talk about this stuff, if we have to pretend to have a natural, spontaneous conversation about this shit for a third time, we're gonna die. So we blasted through it, and it was a lot of fun. And I actually think the episode turned out really nice.
Yeah.
But that was just a very interesting time. Also the one where I came out. Also, do y'all remember what game we were doing when my life catastrophically imploded? Was it the beginning of Xenogears?
I believe it was the beginning of Xenogears.
The first episode of Xenogears went on for over 2 hours, and I was like, we can't fucking do this anymore.
That was the first episode of Legend of Dragoon. She was talking about when her life exploded, not when the podcast exploded.
When her life exploded? Oh, yeah, I think it was around Xenogears.
Yeah. There's a long string there where I'm mired in an outrageously deep well of depression and despair, and I think I hide it pretty well.
Yeah, those are pretty good. Yeah, like we always start the week out saying like, oh, how is everybody doing this week? And Maddy's just like unspoken.
Yep.
But also Maddy is currently still religious, and I was super religious growing up, so there's a lot of like deep cut Bible jokes going on as well.
Oh yeah.
But
there's some Bible.
Yeah, some Bible going on. So yeah, now what was your favorite game from year one? Still no spoilers, and you can say your auto-RPG if you want, but that's a boring answer.
Favorite to like talk about, and favorite or like actual opinion favorite game?
Both. You can qualify if you say it.
Okay, cool. So answer the question however I see fit. Got it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, obviously Undertale.
Yeah.
But setting Undertale aside, because of course it's my favorite game, I think it's probably a tie between Persona and Legend of Dragoon.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed talking about Persona because there was a lot to discuss there. As far as gameplay and just general enjoyability, Legend of Dragoon, that was the one where I said, I think this is the first of our games that we've played that I would go back and play again at some point. And now that I know better how it works, I think I could do it more efficiently, more easily. Because I had a bit of a struggle getting into it, but once I figured it out, I did pretty well.
Yeah, the episode where we started and you're like, well, the thing that I did this week is I learned how to master Gust of Wind Dance, and now this game is fun and easy, and I can do additions now. Like, your whole outlook changed, because, like, bosses no longer were hard because you were doing 300 times damage with Gust of Wind Dance.
Exactly.
And, like, all of these things.
Just the yes. If you haven't listened to Legend of Dragoon, my partner Ken has tinnitus, so he doesn't always hear things the way that they actually are. So I would play Legend of Dragoon out in the living room, and they call out all their attack names, and he misheard a lot of them. He thought, what was it, Crush Dance. Dart would yell Crush Dance, and he'd go, person! And he heard Gust of Wind Dance for the first time, and he goes, did he just say just the Queen's ass? Like,
yep.
No, but now he did.
Yeah, so mine would probably be Legend of Dragoon, just because I got to dork out with it, but also to take it in the which one was most interesting to discuss way, I think Rogue Galaxy and Xenogears would be my favorite, because I think both of those aren't great, but they're good, and they are made with care both ways. And so, like, you can feel who, and I forget now, we looked it up before, but I forget, you can feel the director of Rogue Galaxy in his bits, and you can feel Takahashi in Xenogears through all of the things. You're like, oh, this is what they were focusing on. I wish they wouldn't focus on it so much, but I could still tell their sort of things. Like, in Rogue Galaxy, he liked his characters. Like, everything good about Rogue Galaxy is its character moments. The characters are magnificent. He did not care about dungeon design, and all of the dungeons are hallways. Big, long, way too long hallways with way too many mobs in it. But, like, you can see all the little bits, and I think those are the two that I enjoyed the podcast episodes for the most, because, like, each time we could break down, okay, this is obviously an extended Soylent Green reference, and we're just going to hang out with Takahashi while he talks about Soylent Green for the next 4 hours of gameplay. So let's do that, and it's good.
Yeah.
I would say that's a spoiler, but literally they call it the Soylent system, so it's not a spoiler. Yeah. It's not a spoiler at all.
I mean, it's clear it's people. Just like that shit that they call a meal replacement. I don't know why they decided to name it Soylent, but it was a bad move in my opinion. Right.
It's because it's made from people.
Yeah.
Because you shouldn't eat it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But what about you, Maddy? What was your favorite game?
I also really enjoyed the Rogue Galaxy run. We got to dig into a lot of things that we liked and didn't like about it. It's funny. The two games that were sort of disappointing as far as not actually being great games were Rogue Galaxy and Xenogears. And the funny thing is, both of those games were mostly me yelling about architecture. Because both of those games have phenomenal 3D environment design, actually.
Environment design, not necessarily layout.
I mean, like the way things
Rogue Galaxy.
Yeah, I mean world design, not is the dungeon a hallway or not. Yeah, that's actually my funny that both of those games have that in common.
Just to harp on Rogue Galaxy for a second, there's one time where we get to a labyrinth, and we're like, finally, it won't be a hallway, but it was.
It's a fake labyrinth.
Every single time there was a choice, they led to the same place. It was a super hallway, not a labyrinth. But continue.
Yeah, so I really liked Rogue Galaxy. It was interesting talking about that, since also none of us had played it, and it occupies a weird place in video game history. And then my other favorite was Final Fantasy X, which we just finished. I said going in that my piping hot take is that it's the best Final Fantasy game, and at the end of the game, I have doubled down on that take, because the game surpassed all of my memories of it. I think it's a wonderful game, and I loved playing it, and I loved talking about it. That's easy question for me.
Yeah. All right, and then a final question I had is, what is a game that you hope to do on either RPG Book Club, it can be a regular episode or a sellout episode, on Shortcast or on Longcast? What's some pipe dreams for the podcast
I'll
for you?
answer that one. One very clear pipe dream I have is to play Breath of Fire 5 Dragon Quarter, but it's tough. That game is very structurally interesting in ways that might basically disqualify it from being a game that would make sense to play given our format. So it's not like, oh, we should vote, y'all should vote for it. It's like we need to figure out a way to play that game.
Yeah.
Because it is one of my favorite video games of all time, unequivocally. If I had to list like 3 favorite games, it'd be like a Metal Gear Solid game, a Dragon Quest game, and Breath of Fire Dragon Quarter.
Yeah.
So that's one. And then my second one is, one of these days we're going to get around to playing Metal Gear, and oh boy. Oh, buddy. I'll just look out for that. But that would be either a short cast, or like, as the long cast, we played multiple Metal Gear games in a row.
Yeah.
You know? Like, the entire Metal Gear series would take less time than the Dot Hack games, or or one Dragon Quest 7. Literally.
Yeah.
So we could do them all as a long cast, or we could just do like, let's play MGS1 as a short cast, right?
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, those are good ones. What about you, Eli?
I would definitely like for us to do Earthbound and or Mother 3. I've heard really good things about Mother 3, and I need a reason to finish Earthbound.
No.
A reason for all that. Okay, anyway.
No. Stop.
Sorry. Bravely Default might be an interesting choice.
Okay.
But yeah, mostly Mother 3 or Earthbound. I think those would be really good ones for us. They're very quirky. They're Undertale inspiration.
You know what's interesting, actually? Even though I think in many ways we sort of shy away from wanting to do 2 games in one series because of variety, as someone who's played both, I just want to go ahead and put this out there. It's almost like you're not playing 2 games in the same series.
Oh, nice.
They are that different from each other. So
nice.
We could totally just do both of them. Absolutely.
Cool.
Nice.
There was one other that I was thinking of. I don't know. Oh, I mean, if we're doing Halo for
Shortcast.
So yeah, for Shortcast, we could totally do something out of the BioShock series.
Yeah, I'd be down for that. I would. It's like with the BioShock series, I feel it would be like cool and on brand to do like Minerva's Den, which is a DLC collection for BioShock 2, which is like the best thing in the BioShock series.
Or just do BioShock 2 in general, because people didn't play
most people didn't play BioShock 2.
I actually haven't played BioShock 2. I own it.
So there you go.
I did
original
I own it
BioShock
both
standard and HD.
Oh wow. I played original BioShock and BioShock Infinite on my YouTube channel. Or rather, Ken played Infinite on my YouTube channel because I had already played it and I wanted him to experience it. But yeah, I haven't touched BioShock 2 yet. And I think I actually have like a special edition version on Steam or something like that.
Yeah.
But
those would be
be a cool excuse to do those.
Yeah. So for me, I have a problem which is called generalized anxiety, and it reflects itself in planning everything in advance. So if you could see the host chat, I've put up like 50 different things that we should play. So this question is actually, I don't know why I asked it, because it's hard for me to only answer one. But so Pie in the Sky Dream requires MediaVision and Sony to do a thing, but I would love to play Wild Arms 5 on the podcast. It is it's a Wild Arms game, and I love Wild Arms, but it's also Tim Rogers, which is another thing me and Maddy will reference constantly. Tim Rogers says it's the absolute best JRPG battle system, and he also says that the story is written by a novelist, and you can tell because all of the dungeons you do, there's an emotional reason why you do the dungeons, and not like, there's a shiny bauble on the top of that mountain, let's go do a mountain dungeon. Is like the first intro dungeon is you want to go back to the place where you met your childhood friend to tell her that you've decided to go and be an adventurer and you're going to be leaving town. And it's like really cool, like really sweet. And that's the shit that we eat up here on this podcast.
Also, I love when a series goes on for a while and is like not bad or mediocre, but just like kind of random, like not particularly notable series, and then all of a sudden they make a fucking masterpiece. Like, that's what happened. That's what happened with Breath of Fire.
And that's what happened. Like, Wild Arms was the first 3D RPG on the PlayStation, so everyone liked it. And then 2 was really good, and then 3 was really good, and then 4 was really, really bad. Like, they can't even decide how they're going. Like, imagine Xenogears Disc 2 stretched out over the whole game. Like, random things will be slideshows, random things will be like tales of skits, random things will be dungeons, random things will be town exploration. It doesn't make sense. It was bad. And then on top of that, they changed the battle system so you couldn't even like put up with the presentation to play the game that you've loved underneath. And so it was like everything was weird about it. So then they were like, all right, well, instead let's make a masterpiece. And by that time nobody bought it, and
no one cared at that point.
And then it was good, so everyone who did buy it didn't ever sell it, so it's like a $200 game for us to play it legit, and that's a lot. So we don't want to do that one. But then Longcast, I really want to do Final Fantasy 13 trilogy. I know it's going to be weird, and we're like not going to like it for different reasons at 3 different points for all 3 different games. And but it's just I feel like nobody talks about anything that happens in the second ones, and so like the vague things I know about it are all like first 5 hours of Final Fantasy 13, and I would just like, they built enough game to go on for 3 games. I just kind of want to see what it's all about and see if it's worth it.
Look, like, I'm sorry to all of the gays and the transes out on Twitter, but like, look, Final Fantasy 13 1, it's bad, okay? I know that's an unorthodox opinion for a trans person, but it's a bad game. However, I'm very excited to play 2 and 3.
Yeah.
And replay 1. So I don't mind replaying it.
Yeah. So that'll pretty much do it for this introduction episode. I hope it made sense and you care enough to keep listening, or you just skipped and started on Persona Episode 1 like most people do. So it'll be fine if you never listen to this. But if you're just checking us out for the first time, I will see you in 6 seasons. If you want to get a head start and talk to us on Discord, there will be a link in the description. If you want to get a head start and donate some money, you can do that at ko-fi.com/rpgbookclub. And otherwise, just hit us up. For RPG Book Club, I have been Sam Allman.
I've been Elias Sailor Eli Warren.
And I'm Maddy.
Bye.
Bye, nerds.
Toodaloo.